Welcome to Aaron's Entertainment Survivor Series prediction show. 30 years of Undertaker. 30 years ago, making his debut at Survivor Series back in 1990, when Ted DiBiase introduced The Undertaker, led by Brother Love, his first manager, and then Paul Bearer, second manager. So it's just been 30 years since Undertaker made his wrestling debut at Survivor Series back in 1990. This is Aaron Entertainment, and this will be my predictions for Survivor Series 2020. So we got 6 matches and a pre-show match. A pre-show match is a Battle Royal, which I'll be getting out of the way right here. It's a cross-branded Battle Royal. I'm just going to pick a random superstar. I'm going to go with Big E to win here. So without further ado, let's get through the matches on the main card one by one, and I'll explain what I think will happen and what possible scenarios that may happen. So I don't know what the match order is going to be in, of course. I assume Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns is going to be the main event. It's a main event caliber match. So with that, I'm going to go with Intercontinental title champion Sami Zayn versus the United States champion Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Business. And you remember, they had a match at a couple years ago in one of the worst feuds of the year. You remember the sisters, Bobby Lashley's sisters. You remember that. And then the obstacle course they had. And then Bobby Lashley pretty much got Sami Zayn jobbed out at the pay-per-view. I think it was Stomping Grounds, 2018, the pay-per-view WWE Stomping Grounds. If you remember that, it was a one-time pay-per-view. Sami Zayn, after that, was away for shoulder surgery. Yeah, that was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So this is kind of like a rematch. Now, there's really no build to this match except Sami Zayn, but more on Sami Zayn's side, actually. He's the one talking about, like, he's the champion of the world, Intercontinental champion of the world, and Bobby Lashley is the champion of the United States only. Right? And it looks like Sami Zayn starting a rivalry with Daniel Bryan. As evidence, you could tell a couple weeks ago, and then this past Friday, more evidence when Daniel Bryan slapped Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan did this. Remember? Social distancing. Remember that? So my prediction here is I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley to win here. But if they're gonna go with this feud with Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, they gotta have a way for Sami Zayn to defeat Bobby Lashley. But I assume Bobby Lashley would be accompanied by the Hurt Business. So Bobby Lashley will beat Sami Zayn here. Next match, we're going to have the tag team champions from both brands. Raw and SmackDown. New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods taking on the Street Profits of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Excuse me. Remember, as they got drafted to separate brands, they had to switch the tag team, so they basically traded their belts for the other. And now we're going to get a match between these two teams at Survivor Series. And this is a match people have been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to. New Day versus Street Profits. Street Profits have been tag team champions since February. I believe February, since they beat Murphy and Seth Rollins. Remember when Seth Rollins had Authors of Pain and Buddy Murphy? He was tag team champions with Buddy Murphy. Remember that. They beat the Viking Raiders at the time. They become tag team champions. And I think at the February pay-per-view was Elimination Chamber, I believe. Elimination Chamber. That's when they lost the tag team titles to the Street Profits. And they held it. Well, technically they held the Raw tag team titles. But since they got drafted to SmackDown at the draft in this past October, they had to exchange it with the New Day. Since New Day got drafted to Raw after beating Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro on SmackDown. The first draft night was on SmackDown. They defeated Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro on that day. That night. And then the next night when they got drafted, they had to trade their tag team titles to the Street Profits. This is a staged brand titles. They're still tag team champions. And now we're going to get this match at Survivor Series. Now, The story of this match is that New Day kind of mocked Street Profits a couple weeks ago. They dressed up as the Street Profits. Remember that? Big E was in backstage segments of Street Profits, and this Friday it got a little bit more intense because Big E, I know New Day are separate brands. Like Big E is on SmackDown, and these two are Xavier Woods and Kofi are on Raw. New Day kind of isn't winning together. They're more like dominating on separate brands, right? They're together, but they're split. If you know what I mean. Like they're like, how about you? You go here. Remember when this is how I think of it, even though it didn't happen. Remember when Batista won the Royal Rumble in 2005, right? Triple H and McFlurry are trying to convince him to take the SmackDown title, the World Championship for SmackDown in WrestleMania 2005, so that for Triple H's mind, Evolution could dominate both brands. That's what kind of is like here with New Day and Big E, if you think of it. So with my prediction here, I'm going Street Profits to win here. Clean. No interference, no count out, no DQ. I think there's going to be a clean match. It's going to be a hell of a match. Could be match of the night. Could be. But, yep, I'm going to go with Street Profits. Now, we got champions from both brands, women's champions from both brands, SmackDown and Raw. Asuka from Raw side, Raw Women's Champion, taking on Sasha Banks, SmackDown Women's Champion, for her third time this year in a singles match. Remember Extreme Rules and that controversial finish when Bayley became the referee and how somehow that counted. And then at SummerSlam, Asuka got back the Raw Women's title from Sasha Banks. So this is third match, I guess, right? So they're tied 1-1. So whoever in this match wins the series, I guess, 2 out of 3. So I'm gonna go with Asuka. I'll give my predictions when I'm finished with this. I'll go with Asuka. Ever since SummerSlam, she has no worthy challengers, and they have done completely nothing. They totally botched Asuka since SummerSlam. Yeah, sorry for Zelina Vega that getting let go by WWE because of the Twitch and OnlyFans situation. And she faced Asuka at Night of Champions, Clash Champions, or whatever you want to call it. She lost, but we all knew Asuka was gonna win that. And really, since there's been no title matches she's been in some tag team matches, but there has been no build up for a contender on Raw because they're all on that Raw tag team, right? The only contenders I can think of on Raw are Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, possibly. They're strong enough characters to feud with Asuka, but they're missing that weird relationship with the rest of the team, especially with Lana, which I'll get to that match a little bit later on. No, you know what? I think I'll do that. That's going to be next, actually, after this. But since Asuka became champion, they've really done nothing with her, no challenges. They completely botched her title reign. I hope after Survivor Series they do something else. They have maybe. I don't think Becky Lynch is going to come back for a while, so okay. But even though Charlotte hasn't been away for a while, she has been drafted to Raw. So maybe Charlotte will come back and be a challenger for Asuka, and maybe they'll have a match at WrestleMania, a second match at WrestleMania, Charlotte versus Asuka. I don't know. They need to do something. They need a worthy challenger for Asuka, or maybe at some point in the future, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax lose the tag team titles to break up, and one of those become a contender. I like to see it be Shayna Baszler and Asuka. Because I think that's a feud, a rivalry that people could see being worthwhile to watch, because those are two strong candidates, and they really need to make Shayna Baszler strong on the main roster. She was the strongest woman in NXT for a year or so. Most dominant heel, possibly the most dominant woman in WWE at the time. But on Raw, she hasn't been like that, but she's kind of bossed. Her and Nia Jax are kind of bossing Lana around. So with that, I'm going to go with Sasha Banks. Now, Sasha Banks has been champion since Hell in a Cell. Great match. One of the best matches of the year with Bayley. And now she's going to move on to a new title contender. And that's going to be Carmella. Even though she hasn't won a number one contendership. But Carmella snuck attack her 3 times. When she came back, she snuck attack her on the stage. After Sasha successfully retained the title against Bayley. And then 2 weeks ago, Sasha's cutting a promo. Bayley music hit. Sasha turned around, to look at Bayley. Then all of a sudden from behind, You see Carmella attack Sasha, gave her X Factor a second time. And then it's past SmackDown. Asuka was on SmackDown. Sasha Banks was on SmackDown. Michael Cole was interviewing both. Asuka was joking around with him. Remember the Road Dog? Oh, you didn't know your ass better call somebody. And then she, you can't see me. She was mocking Sasha. Sasha was taking this very seriously. And then Carmella attacks Sasha, and this beat down by Carmella was a little bit more aggressive. She did more stuff, and Asuka just stood there watching it, like, and you would think as a babyface she would stop, but no, she was pissed off, right? Because what Sasha was saying. So, I think a lot of people see Sasha needing this match to win, but I think Asuka needs it more because she hasn't really done anything. This is best 2 out of 3. And if the wild card is Carmella. Is Carmella going to get involved in this match and cost Sasha Banks the title? Not the title, but the match. This is champion versus champion, but the titles are not on the line. It's not a unification kind of match. I think Sasha will lose, but not clean. Carmella will somehow get involved in costing Sasha the match. So I'm gonna go with Asuka to win here, and winning 2 out of 3, and Sasha in the last few pay-per-view matches they had, from Extreme Rules, SummerSlam, and eventually this match. Now let's get to the women's match. SmackDown Women's versus Raw Women's. On the Raw Women's side, you have Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lana, Peyton Royce, and Lacey Evans taking on SmackDown's team of Riot Squad, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Natalya, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. Now, before I predict who wins, I'm gonna surprise you. There's a lot of people who have the same outcome. It's on the Raw side. The story is basically Lana. They're building up Lana to be a sympathetic character, but she's been dumb. If you think about it, she's been doing the dumb stuff, really. She tried to help Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke win the tag team titles. But the end result, she goes through the table. They don't like her, to tell her stay out of their way. She tries to tag team with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and pass Raw. They lose. She gets choked out by Asuka, and they end up putting her through the table. They put her through the table 9 times in a row. She's always trying to get on the good side of everybody on the team, but it always backfires. She has to stop. I understand what they're doing, and I understand what they're trying to do with her, but it's making her look dumber and dumber. If you ask me, nothing she does is working. Stop. It's insanity if you keep doing it. And the whole story is Lana being through the table, and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler bullying her. This whole story is about Lana. And then you got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke originally supposed to be on the team, but apparently Mandy Rose suffered a legit injury 2 weeks ago when she got thrown out of the ring by Nia Jax. And you see on this Raw when Nia Jax held her arm against the steel steps, and Shayna Baszler did a stomp with her leg, its shoulder, right? To get her off TV. She's legit hurt, so obviously she's not fit to compete. And you see Reckoning, aka Mia Yim, taking out Dana Brooke, officially eliminating Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose off the Raw Women's team, where Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans get inserted in the team. They had no choice, and those two are complete opposites together, and they do not gel well together. You could clearly see they do not fit. Unlike everybody else, why did it break up the Iconics? And I feel Bayley has more of legit stuff right now. Like, yeah, she's not wrestling, but what they're doing with her on SmackDown, I'll get back to this, is a resume, or showing her resume or her headshot, stuff like that. I don't know why they broke up the Iconics. That was stupid. I think they said they have high plans for Peyton Royce. I guess they changed their mind. I think the Iconics are going to get back together in the future. It's quite plain and clear that they're going to get back together in the future. Now, on the SmackDown side, the story on SmackDown's team is Natalya getting shot after shot after shot to be on the SmackDown Women's title. No, SmackDown's team. We've got Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, who was not supposed to win with that fatal 4. Right, it was supposed to be Tasha Green. Then it was supposedly her was supposed to win. Whatever, I don't know. It's a mess. I don't know. So Liv Morgan's really supposed to be on the team. That makes sense. If Ruby Wyatt's on the team, Bianca Belair's on the team. It makes sense for Bayley to be on the team since Sasha and Asuka are face each other. So have Bayley on the team as the team captain, and then Natalya defeated Tamina. Of course, Natalya's gonna defeat Tamina. Tamina was never gonna be on the team, and that's her final shot. She's on the team. So the SmackDown, this Survivor Series overall has not been a great build up. I think Bianca Belair's gonna have a strong showing, but she's gonna get eliminated. I think Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are gonna have a strong showing. Sami's gonna get one of those two is gonna be a surprise elimination. Maybe Lana turns on one of them. I don't know. Somehow Nia Jax through the table. Some way. I think. Obviously, you cannot pick her up and put her on the table. But she'll find some way to put her through the table. Maybe not tonight, but maybe somewhere in the future. Maybe at TLC. Because I think with her going through the table 9 times in a row, like she's catching up to Undertaker's win streak of 21. She's gonna catch up to it quickly, and she'll surpass it at this pace. But I think the end game here somehow Nia Jax goes through the table by Lana in some capacity, some way. But I think Lana's gonna be the last woman standing. She got a surprise roll up or something, surprise win, and yeah, I think that's gonna happen. Lana's gonna get the win here as the last woman standing in the 5-on-5 SmackDown versus Raw women's match. Now we're gonna do the men's team from Raw, which is Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee versus the SmackDown's team of Seth Rollins, King Corbin, Otis. Who else is on the team? Jey Uso and Kevin Owens. And now Kevin Owens has been away for a while ever since a beatdown by Jey Uso, right? So the Raw's team cannot get along, obviously. Only 2 members of the team can get along. It's Matt Riddle and Keith Lee, because they go back a long time, way back. Before WWE and before NXT on the independent circuit. So they go way back and they're good friends. But the rest of the team don't get along. AJ Styles, he's trying to keep the peace between them, trying to get them to be on the same page. That's what I love about AJ Styles. Even though he's a heel, but he understands the magnitude. He understands what's at stake here. Even though Willie, no team whoever team wins that gets nothing. They don't get a 30th spot in the Royal Rumble. The last man standing in the match gets a title shot. Nothing. There's nothing at stake here. Brand supremacy. But there should be a reward for brand supremacy, right? But no brand supremacy reward. But I like how AJ Styles is trying to keep the peace, team captain trying to keep the peace between the Raw team together. But the SmackDown team, they really have no interactions with each other, really. Nothing besides Jey Uso and Kevin Owens. Jey Uso had a backstage stuff, and he took out Kevin Owens. This match has no build really between. The build is between the Raw team mostly. The Raw team has been really mostly. You're gonna see some dysfunction in the Raw team, but I think the Raw team is gonna come in the end and win this match. Because I just think it's just bound to happen. That's so WWE have dysfunction amongst the team, but have them win. So I think the Raw team is gonna win here. And what I think is gonna happen to the SmackDown team, I don't know what's gonna happen with Seth Rollins. I don't know, but Jey Uso, I think Kevin Owens is gonna. Jey Uso is going to surprise tag Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is going to look at him, and then Jey Uso is going to tell him to get back, and Kevin Owens is just going to kick him and give him a stunner, and somebody on the Raw team is going to pin him. So I'm going to the Raw men's tag team to win here. Now we're going to get to the main event. There's no question this match is the main event. This match is going to be Roman Reigns, WWE Universal Champion, taking on Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion, Raw versus SmackDown Champions. Now, Drew McIntyre got back the title of Randy Orton on Raw, and the majority of people, I don't know why they put the title on Orton if this is the plan all along. I guess in the past, I always had a major title change before a Survivor Series happened, so the match changes at Survivor Series. You had Charlotte beat Natalya, so she would face Asuka Bliss. At 2017 Survivor Series, AJ Styles, remember, defeated Jinder Mahal, and that's what a blessing that was, to face Brock Lesnar. At 2017, Daniel Bryan in 2018 did the exact same thing that AJ Styles, defeated AJ Styles to become champion, to face Brock Lesnar at the 2018 Survivor Series. Remember, so it's happened before. Title changes happened before Survivor Series. So it has been very common for that to happen. But like the majority of people, there was no point in putting the title on Randy Orton if this was the case of Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. Now, for the first time since Roman Reigns became champion, this is a serious test for him. Because, believe it or not, Jey Uso, while good matches he had his cousin, Jey Uso was never going to win the title and was 100% guaranteed Roman Reigns is going to win. I know majority of people are predicting Roman Reigns here, but it's not I don't think it's predictable, like 90 to 10%, 80 to 20%. I think it's closer to 60-40. 60-40 Roman Drew. But I'm going to 40% here. I'll tell you why. Because Drew McIntyre did have to build up strong again since beating Randy Orton. And that Hell in a Cell match really hurt him. It's whatever. In this past SmackDown, I was convinced that Drew McIntyre is going to win here. I had other thoughts, but since like Daniel Bryan, for example, returning at Survivor Series, but since he returned to SmackDown and confronted Sami Zayn, he looks like Daniel Bryan is going to go after Sami Zayn, right? Because my original thought was Drew McIntyre is going to beat Roman Reigns, but not clean some way. The referees could get knocked out or something, and Daniel Bryan's going to interfere. Someone get involved, manage to cost Roman Reigns the match, having Drew McIntyre win, and starting off a Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan feud. And I guarantee you, we're all going to love to see a Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan feud. Rivalry. I'd love to see it. But since the Daniel Bryan looks like he's going to start a program with Sami Zayn, and with the contract signing, and I love how Roman Reigns, instead of sitting across from Drew McIntyre, he sat where the person moderating the contract signing, where Michael Cole is supposed to sit. Michael Cole or Corey Graves just moved out of the way. I think it was Michael Cole when we sat in that chair. Like you could tell he's a dominant alpha right there, like asserting his dominance over Drew McIntyre and chewing Drew McIntyre out. How Drew McIntyre's title is a secondary title, and that one day you'll be as good as me, but that'll be a long time and whatever. And you could tell Drew McIntyre is unfazed by that, but he didn't. And in the defense of Drew McIntyre, he's done a great job carrying as a champion before Roman Reigns comes back. Before Roman Reigns came back at SummerSlam. He defeated Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton. He's done his job carrying WWE, but now Roman Reigns is back and he's here to carry WWE. That's what Roman Reigns thinks. I love how he basically kind of buried Drew McIntyre storyline wise, not in real life, right? Not in kayfabe, but storyline wise for this match. Buried Drew McIntyre as a secondary champion. I love that. So a lot of people are still picking Roman Reigns to win because they need to keep him strong. But I think since it's a non-title match, I think Drew McIntyre is going to win here. Since the SmackDown thing, Drew McIntyre needs this win, and I'm going to go with the 40%, as I said. I think it's more like 60-40 Roman wins here. But I'm going to go with the 40%. Drew McIntyre wins here. And then after that, he starts a program with Sheamus. Because you could clearly see the planting of seeds with the Sheamus Drew McIntyre feud. They're friends. But can you trust Sheamus? That's the question. So I'm going to go with Roman Reigns to win here. And yeah, get to the Undertaker thing once more. Do you think this is really the end? Or do you think somebody's going to come out, attack, or talk to the Undertaker, whatever, smack the Undertaker, and get Tombstone for just one last time? One last time somebody gets Tombstone. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe below. Oh yeah, and later tonight, I'll be doing a live watch along. Thank you.